Well, hello, race and diecast fans. Welcome back to the channel. It's all about racing. I'm Mark, and today we're going to take a look at the sister car to the 911 Porsche 911 RSR that you have seen earlier in my videos, this being the 912 car. This was an interesting livery that they used from essentially 1999 through 1920, maybe in the 21, in both the IMSA Weather Tech Series as well as the World Endurance Championship. In fact, I have pictures of both cars with like the 912 and the IMSA Series and the 92 in the World Endurance Championship. And I believe I think it was 2022, the 92 car won the 12 hours of Sebring, respectively. Because I've got a picture of it with a trophy on the front of it and the crewman holding it up. But anyhow, this is the IMSA Weather Tech version of that car. This is a Spark 143 scale car. It is a sealed resin model. No moving parts, but phenomenally detailed. In fact, I'm going to give you a spoiler here. It is the most detailed car, I think, of any that I've got in my collection, including its sister car, the 911. And I'll show you why in just a minute. It comes in this... I think, a rather attractive box with the United States theme, because this was the car that competed in the 24 Hours of Daytona, or at least that's how they're promoting it. It used this livery for like 2 years. But it basically looks like this. It's clear on both ends, so you can see the front and the rear of the car. On the back of the car, it has Spark and Spark model and all the stuff you'd expect. And then, of course, on the bottom, it has, the information about the car, Porsche 911 RSR, so forth and so on. It doesn't have the 24 Hours of Le Mans stuff on there you typically see, because this is not one of those cars. Consequently, another teaser here, this is a limited edition car, because it is not a 24 Hours of Le Mans car from Spark Series. All their other cars that they make, liveries that compete in other races like Nürburgring, like Daytona, like Spa, or limited edition cars where the 24 Hours of Le Mans cars are not. So if you buy a Spark 143 car and it's a 24 Hours of Le Mans car, it's not going to be a limited edition. But other cars are. Just something for you to know, in case you're interested. Comes mounted on a wooden base with all sorts of cool information on it, as well as a nice acrylic jewel case. So let's unbox it and take a close look at it. Now here you have a nice look at the driver's side of the car. And as I have mentioned, these cars all have nice wooden bases. They're attractively done. They're painted. They vary in colors, this one being black. Generally tells you information. This is the Porsche 911 RSR Porsche GT team. This was Porsche's factory team. The cars were driven by factory drivers in both the IMSA Weather Tech Series as well as the World Endurance Championship. The liveries sometimes are the same, sometimes they varied. It depended on the time of the year, whatever promotions they were doing. This was second in the GTLM class in 24 Hours of Daytona. So it finished on the podium in this particular livery. And this being a Spark car, it is loaded, and I do mean loaded with details. Spark are my favorite cars to buy in the 143 scale. They're a bit more affordable than Look Smart, just as detailed. They're much better, in my opinion, in details than IXO, even though they tend to be about twice as expensive. But if you take a closer look at some of the details of this, we'll talk about details first and then the livery, because the livery is really key on this. You got great Michelin tires. They're rubber. You can see the slotted brake rotors as well as the brake caliper. I get my head on myself here. And you'll see that on both tires there. Notice the exhaust here comes out the side of it. It's not in the rear. This is a mid-engine, 6-cylinder boxer engine with exhaust that comes out the side, not the rear. They did this for about 2 years, and then they moved it to the rear. The reason they did this initially is they wanted to save as much space as possible for the big, huge rear diffuser that they had on the car, and they did that by repositioning the exhaust. We'll take a closer look at the rear in a minute, but anyhow. So they did that by repositioning it, and here you have it. You've got a really nicely done silver inlaid grille, which is gorgeous. If you're familiar with the IMSA Weather Tech Series, the 912 you see on the red banner there, that if it is colored red, that means this is a professional series car. In this case, it's a Porsche factory team. The mirrors are red. The ends on the windshield banner are red, and the end caps on the rear wing are red. If they were green, it would be a Pro-Am entry in the IMSA Weather Tech Series, but they're red. And this is how you see that. The decals are all nicely applied, fluid, gorgeous. I mean, look at this. Look at this B panel. It's so busy. It's heavy in carbon fiber. You've got, because this is an IMSA Weather Tech Series, you actually have the leader light here, which lights up, telling you what place the car is in. If it's third, it's a 3. If it's 14th, it's a 14. You also have the air jack inlet on here and the pull tab on it. Very, very busy, but like I say, very detailed B-pillar. Now, taking a look in the cabin, we'll move this around. You can see the seat. You can see the net. You can clearly see the steering wheel as well as the LCD screen in the middle of it, as well as all the push buttons. You can see some of the framework in there. You can see the nicely, these windows in real life, they're plastic. I mean, literally, they can't be glass. If they wrecked, they'd be a mess, but they're literally plastic. And you see the bolt-ons there. Because this is a 143 scale car, you can clearly see the names of the drivers from here: Earl Bamber, Matthew Gemini, and Lawrence Vanthor. You can see the carbon fiber in the seat from this angle. You also see my finger in the reflection. I'm going to show you the other side. It's even more telling. But on the top of it there, you're looking at all the aerials as well as the wind speed area, and that's the L-shaped thing that you see right there. This is your television camera outlet there. Nicely done. The latches for the removable panels on the car. These are all carbon fiber. Take a look at the front. Remember, I'm a details kind of guy, so these cars I just love them. The base has the American flag on there. Nice touch. If this were at Spa, it'd have the Belgian flag. If it was in Nuremberg, it'd have the German flag. And you've got a nice carbon fiber front splitter, the RSR, you can clearly see there on the lip of it. The nose with the tow hook right there. The headlights, beautifully done. They're gorgeous. You also have fog lights here. And you've got all the various logos you'd expect on there. If you take a look at the hood of the car, now here's, well, actually, we'll just look at the details, then we'll look at the livery. You have the, in this particular case, because it was Daytona, the fuel cap is over here on the driver's side. Sometimes it's on the passenger side. It varies depending upon the layout of the track and the pit lane. And here you can see the interior details of the car, a lot of the framework. You can see the dash, the steering wheel, and the netting you can clearly see from there. Flip it around to this side. And here you also have the names of the drivers on the base. You have Earl Bamber, Matthew Gemini, and Lawrence Vanthor, as if you couldn't see them before. And essentially, they replicate all the details you see on the driver's side, on the passenger side of the car. Again, there's your exhaust. It's got one on both sides. This beautiful carbon fiber running board with a red trim. It is just absolutely stunning. The nice looking grille. Again, the leader light panel you have on this side, but the air jack is on the other side of the car. But if you look on the interior of this car and take a look at that, you see this nice Porsche Motorsport. I may actually have to lift the car up to see. There you go. You see Porsche Motorsport in there. That's on the other side of the net. It's like a felt or a rubber. It's part of the protection scheme to protect the driver from bouncing around in the cabin in case it gets introverted, whatever the case may be. But they did it really nicely, and you can see the safety net on the other side of it as well. And if you looked out into the car, you can see some of the tubing and some of the other interior details. Kind of hard to do with the camera. You almost need to do this with a, I use jeweler's glasses to look inside of here, which is really cool. One thing to note on the top, now that we're on this side, this is the television camera hub. And you can see this little decal there. It's Porsche. If this race were being televised, that is what you would be looking at there. It tells you it's Porsche, number 911. Just a neat little touch that they've put on there. Just another tiny little decal. They don't really have to put on there. They do. I do not know what this little bugger is there, but nevertheless, it's like an aerial array of 5 or 6. If you take a look at the rear of it, beautiful carbon fiber engine cover. You have the vents here. This is a mid-engine car, so the engine is right behind the driver. Like, as I mentioned, it's a 6-cylinder boxer. There is the Porsche rear wing, beautifully done in carbon fiber as well. And I believe it's got Porsche on the bottom of it to boot. Let me pull this up here, and I don't want to... Yeah, there's Porsche. You can see that on the bottom of the rear wing as well. So it's got it on the top and the bottom. And then if you take a look at the rear of the car, they only made 600 of this particular one. And this is 539 of those, so I'm getting up towards the end of it when I purchased this. But these are true limited edition cars. Guys, if you want cars that are collectibles, that are limited edition, look at my video about limited edition cars that I have on my channel. Talks about Spark and all the other various manufacturers and how to identify and how to get a limited edition car. I usually choose a car because I like the car, I like the livery. But if one's a limited edition and I like the livery as well in the car, I will buy it over a non-limited edition every single time. So anyhow, you have that. Again, just nicely done details. The taillight's beautifully done in plastic and just perfectly done. The carbon fiber details on that rear splitter are just striking. You got to get used to having no exhaust there. It looks like it should be there. Like, is this a Jedi mind trick or something? But no, the exhaust is on the side of the car, not on the back. Now, let's take a look at the livery because it is very subtle. This car is very distinctive. In fact, both the 911 and the 912 with the red stripe that goes down the hood all the way to the back of the car. However, the livery is more subtle, and you really have to see both of them side to side to get a look at it. In this car, basically, the base color of it is gray with what I would call white accents. You see the front of the car from the nose all the way almost to the nose, the roof of the car, and you have gray accents going back to the back. The rest of the car is white, but it's gray in all those areas that I have mentioned here. Gray here, gray on the roof. Oh, sorry about that. And then you have gray going down the side of it as well. Now, if you were to take a look at the 911 car, and I will actually do a video comparing the two of them, the color scheme is the exact opposite. Every other detail is identical, except where it's gray on the 912, it is white on the 911. It is really a unique, interesting, and a very subtle color scheme. And then you go to the back of the car, and of course it's completely white in the back. But it is gray up on the top of the trunk lid, as you might call it, just before you get to the rear spoiler, so to speak. Even it's kind of a lip. But anyhow, you have gray there, you have white, gray on the roof, white all the way down the sides of the car. Very, very subtle. I think very cool. I have some beautiful pictures of these cars that I took both at Daytona and at Sebring. But anyhow, a really unique car, one of the most detailed I have in my collection. I absolutely love the Porsches. I mean, the Porsche RSRs are just gorgeous cars. They're phenomenal. And Spark does a really good job with these. So if you are interested in this car, I would certainly try to pick one up on eBay. They tend to run about $80, sadly, but that's the price you pay if you want something really cool. Thanks for watching. Take care.